I've been an Android user for as long as I can remember. I know this video is about using an iPhone to shoot videos, but I need to go back so that you guys can understand some things. Okay, so I got my first Android phone around I think 2014 or 2015 roughly. So that means I've been using Android for over 20 years. I also started on YouTube and used my Android phones as cameras, like the different Android phones I was changing from time to time. Honestly, I tested different camera apps on the Play Store until I found Open Camera. Now, there's a feature that most camera apps mess up. It's the exposure lock feature. If you forget to lock your exposure while making a video, you'll notice that the lighting in your videos will randomly change. So sometimes your video will be bright and sometimes it will get dark. But with an app like Open Camera, you can just set your default exposure level and it won't change. Especially for someone like me that I'm constantly in the same room with the same lights, I don't do a lot of changes. My lights stay in the same position in most cases. So I just wanted you to get the idea. I've been using Android for a long time, like I have mastered it, and I chose Open Camera as my default app for shooting videos. But then I got my hands on an iPhone, something that I'm not even used to. So I got my wife an iPhone 14 Pro Max. I explained why I got it for her in this video, so you can check it out after watching this video. And after using the phone for a while, because I was even helping her to set it up as the tech guy in the house. Anyways, I noticed that the camera app can shoot videos at 60 frames per second. Now, one thing I've always wanted to do is shoot videos at 60 frames per second. My Android phones can shoot 60 frames per second, but that only works when I'm using the default app the phone comes with. If I try to shoot 60 frames with open camera, it doesn't work. It is stuck at 30 frames per second. I think this is an Android security feature. I don't know why, but well, as far as I know, the Android devices that I own cannot shoot 60 FPS videos using open camera. Maybe if I'm able to upgrade to Samsung in the future, then I may be able to shoot 60 FPS videos using open camera. But then I said, okay, there's an iPhone here, so why not just use it to shoot videos on the channels? So I started shooting some test videos with the default camera app on the iPhone. I didn't really like the results. They were decent, but I didn't like the results because I still had to do the manual, what was it called? Exposure lock. I had to do the manual exposure lock. So with that, I decided to go to the App Store and look for camera apps. After testing a lot of them, honestly, I spent like 2 days testing them. I ended up with two: Final Cut camera app and Blackmagic camera app. The first time I officially used the iPhone to record a video, I used the Final Cut camera app and the video came out decent. But something I don't like about the Final Cut camera app is how the files are being named. Okay, so this is the Final Cut camera app. I'm going to open it now to shoot a video. So it's just going to be a sample video, nothing interesting. Okay, so pause now. Okay, so I've stopped the recording. So now if I go to the file manager and I go to the Final Cut camera folder, this is what the name of the file is going to be. So let's say I delete the file and then I shoot another video. If I go back to the file manager, you'll see that the file name is the same. It's the same with the other one that I just deleted. So just imagine that the video that I deleted in the demo that I just showed you was moved to my PC. The second video that I recorded, if I wanted to move it to the same folder that I moved the first video on my PC, I would either have to rename the file or it will overwrite the first file. That is not a good way to stay organized. And honestly, I had to reshoot some videos because I accidentally overwrote some files using this method, because the software that I use for transferring the videos from the iPhone to the PC, it doesn't ask me to rename the files. It just automatically deletes the old one and rewrites them using the new files. Because of that naming issue, I had to try the Blackmagic camera app. Now I tried it before, but it had a lot of options and I was too overwhelmed at the time because I was trying to figure things out. I didn't want anything too complicated. I wanted something simple. But well, Blackmagic actually had what I needed at the time. So if you open the app and you go to settings, then media, you'll see the file name convention option. Tap it and select Blackmagic camera. Don't use the iOS option for your peace of mind. With the Blackmagic option selected, your video files will have unique names, so you will not experience any kind of accidental overwriting of video files, which is the best thing you need. Also, if you guys are interested in my camera setup, like on the iPhone, let me know and I will share my preset with you guys. Okay, so I was happy. File name issue was successfully solved. But then I noticed another problem in the next video that I made. So the video on the left is the first one I made, and the one on the right is the next video I made using the phone. Can you tell the difference? Well, if you can't, for the video on the left, I will say I look reasonably natural and okay. But for the other video, I look very washed, very bright. Like my face looks too. I'm trying to think of another word that is not unnatural. But I'll just say my face does not look okay. I knew something was wrong, so I started checking different settings to see if I could get the same result I got on the first video. I even switched to the Final Cut camera app to check if it is Black Magic that is giving me the issues. At that point, I was like, okay, I'll try to find a way to maybe avoid overwriting files by accident by creating different folders. So after recording, I can send the video files to a folder. If I record again, I'll send it to the next folder. And that was the temporary fix that I thought about. But in the end, Final Cut had the same results. Like I was looking washed, very, very exposed, like in terms of light. So to be honest, I felt relieved that the Blackmagic app and the Final Cut camera app were having the same results. So I knew that okay, Blackmagic is it should work well when I figure out the issue. I tried disabling HDR, it didn't work. I tried even shooting videos at 1080p instead of 4K, it didn't work. In the end, I used my final weapon, ChatGPT. You know, it's funny that I use ChatGPT a lot, but I have never mentioned it on this channel until today. Anyways, I started a conversation with ChatGPT. I told it what I was experiencing, and it told me to lower my ISO. Now, that idea sounded odd to me because I know that lowering your ISO means your video will look dark. So I laid my concerns to ChatGPT, and it said I could increase the brightness using my video editing app. Now, from my years of editing videos, it's not like I'm that great at editing, but anyways, I know that it is best to get everything right from the camera before you even start editing. Like for example, let's say you didn't set up your mic well. It's hard to clean up a bad audio using your video editing app. So it's best to just get it right while recording the video. So, well, I didn't have any other options because I have tried everything possible. So I just said, okay, let me try it out. So I lowered my ISO from 1250 to 100. Saying it now sounds funny, but hey, it's how I set up my Android device. Like open camera on my Android phone, my ISO is around 950. So I don't know, maybe there's a difference between open camera and Blackmagic or Android and iOS. Anyways, that's why I set it that high. But in the end, the video came out decent. I had to increase the brightness using my video editing app. But yeah, it came out decent. Not as decent as the first one that I made, but well, I now have a foundation. So from here, I can start trying out different settings. Like for this video, I lowered it to 80. I still have my ring light close to me. I had to bring the ring light close because the first time I tried it, after bringing the ISO down to 100, the ring light was far away because that's how I normally keep my ring light. But I noticed that the video was too dark. So bringing the ring light close to my face improved the video a lot. But well, that was a major issue I was facing, which has now hopefully been fixed. Like I said, I'll be trying out different settings as time goes. Now I have a good foundation. So like I said in this video, I'm shooting at ISO 80 with HDR off. So maybe in my next video, I'll leave it at 80 with HDR on. Another issue that I faced, it only happened once, was the iPhone, like the camera stopped recording. The Blackmagic camera stopped recording because the battery was getting too hot. That was the notification I got. It only happened once, like I said. I'm still keeping it at the back of my mind that it may happen again. Maybe it was because the ISO was too high. I don't know. And then one more thing that I don't like about the iPhone is that I can't bring objects too close to the camera. If I do, the camera will just lose focus. But with my Android phone, I can bring objects really close and the camera will stay focused. I know that if you use the native camera app on the iPhone, if you bring objects close, it will switch to I think it's the macro camera or I don't know, the wide camera, one of the cameras, and the objects will stay in focus. But the Blackmagic app does not do that. So That's why it doesn't automatically switch. But that's something I can live with because the iPhone's camera is better than my current Android phone's camera. In fact, I think that's one of the reasons why people even use iPhones, because their cameras are very good. For me, I like it because it is very optimized. Hopefully, if I'm able to upgrade to a very good Samsung phone, then I will try to see if the open camera app can use 60 frames per second. Hopefully. But to conclude, I don't think I'm completely done learning how to use the iPhone as a camera. So, like I said, I will experiment with different settings. But with that said, yeah, hopefully this video was helpful to someone. You can also share your tips in the comments. Maybe one of you will share something that will just unlock everything I need to know about using the iPhone to shoot videos. But with that said, thank you for watching. I'll be seeing you in the next video. Subscribe. Take care and bye bye.